All right, sexual folly, from St. Paul to sexual follies. What? It's a natural movement. So Jimmy Kimmel, after the State of the Union, who has become a smarmy kind of, political operator, who, using emotions to sell his point of view, he's having this porn star on after the State of the Union on his show, the porn star that President Trump has been accused of sleeping with and having an affair with. And, it's really interesting to me that whenever there's a sex scandal on the right, what the left, because the left is all for sex, right? All the left ever sells is sex. Any kind of sex you want, you can be any sex you want, you can do anything you want, that no one has any right to say anything, you can't slut shame people, you can't shame people about anything they do, but suddenly it becomes an issue. And what they always say is on the right, it's hypocrisy, because if it's, if they're accusing Ted Cruz of something, well, he's a big Christian, so he's a hypocrite. That they don't really understand what Christianity or hypocrisy means, but that's okay. At least they're making a point. With Donald Trump, he's a billionaire who ran beauty contests. We know exactly what he was doing. We have no doubt in our mind how Donald Trump was spending his free time. So why is this even a story? And why is Jimmy Kimmel against sleeping with porn stars? Does he not think one should sleep with porn stars? What exactly is he saying? See, the whole thing is, it's not the sex, it's the politics. And we have been taken in by this too long. Part of this is because Ronald Reagan helped bring the evangelicals into the conservative movement and into the Republican Party, and we have used their votes, and conservative and evangelicals get very excited about these sex issues. But do they really matter very much in politics if we are talking about people doing what they do? In other words, they're not talking about rape. We're not talking about beating somebody up. Michael, just to show you that this is not sex, it's about politics, this guy, Michael Wolff, who wrote this book, what was it called? Fire and Fury, which is just innuendo. He went on and did something so disgusting that even an occasional Democrat, he was on Bill Maher's show, and Maher was encouraging him, and he said, is there anything in the book that we don't know about? It was obviously a setup. Obviously, Maher knew what he was going to say, and he started dropping this innuendo. Oh, yes, Trump is sleeping with someone right now, and if you read my book carefully, you know who it is. Listen to this.
Who is he?
You have to read between the lines.
What lines? Tell us the lines. You say it's in the book.
It's toward the end of the book.
Okay, well, it's in the book, then we go.
You just have to. You'll know it.
I'll know it.
Now that I've told you, when you hit that paragraph, you're going to say bingo.
All right, so you're going to say bingo. Apparently, people who've read the book, and I'm not going to read the book. My life is too short. Come out and say there's this innuendo about Nikki Haley. Now, I make lots of jokes about Nikki Haley. I make lots of sex jokes. I make jokes about everything, so I feel absolutely free to do this. But if you have not got that information, and apparently he has not got it, and some of the stuff he says, he says, oh, she's spending a lot of time on Air Force One. She says, I've been on Air Force One once, and, there were plenty of other people there, and I've never, been alone with the president, and all this. She just completely denies it. But there, even in the New York Times, Barry Weiss over there, who is, she is the daughter of, I can't remember his name. He's Weiss, who writes for the Wall Street Journal. She's kind of got a more conservative point of view. But she goes off and she says, if he had done that to Barack Obama and the ambassador at the time, Samantha, whatever her name was, if he had gone off and done that, heads would have exploded. I mean, people would have exploded to basically say, oh, here's a powerful woman. I'm going to accuse her of sleeping with the boss. She must have gotten that job by sleeping with the boss. Should be, anti-feminism 101, right? This is an insult to every woman who has made it on her own. I make all these jokes about Nikki Haley, but they're actually jokes about me. There are jokes about my reaction to Nikki Haley. She's obviously doing a great job. I continually say she's doing a great job. It's not about sex. It's about politics. The hypocrisy is so strong with the Democrats because it's never about sex. It's just about getting you outraged. And I said this about Roy Moore, too. I don't like Roy Moore. I don't like what he stands for. I don't like what he says. I don't like what he pretends to be. But that stuff about the sex was just about politics. Just to show you, because it happened in real time on The View, Senator Kirsten Gillibrand was going around making a big fuss over Donald Trump and women. Oh, basically she's saying he should be thrown out of office for the things he has done with women, none of which we actually know. Meghan McCain pointed out that Kirsten Gillibrand was a big supporter of both Hillary and Bill Clinton. And just watch her change direction in mid-flight. Watch this.
Let's talk about Trump first. He has multiple allegations, dozens of allegations, over a dozen allegations of sexual assault and sexual harassment. He should resign because of that. He should be held accountable. I've not heard that from any Republicans. And they won't hold him accountable. Okay, there you go. Start the trend. He should be held accountable. And because he's unwilling to resign, Congress should be doing hearings. Where are the hearings on all of these allegations of sexual assault and sexual harassment? He should be held accountable.
What do you make of this, the Republican silence on these subjects?
Again, it shouldn't be a partisan issue. We should be having a very different conversation about President Trump, and we should be holding him accountable, and we should be having hearings.
Senator, you have dedicated your political career to this fight, obviously, and that's why a lot of people were really surprised that it took you 20 years to say that Bill Clinton should have resigned over the Lewinsky scandal. So what do you say to that?
I think this moment of time we're in is very different. I don't think we had the same conversation back then, the same lens. We didn't hold people accountable in the same way that this moment is demanding today. I think all of us, or many of us, did not have that same lens, myself included. But today, we are having a very different conversation.
but people on the right were having that conversation then. It's only about politics. It's not about sex. It's about politics. It really is none of our business who people sleep with. If it's consensual, even if they cheat on their wives, it's really none of our business. Yeah, do I want a guy in office who has some kind of integrity, who is not, who is not running around, who's not depraved? Of course I do. But are we going to surrender to Germany because Eisenhower cheated on his wife? He did, but that doesn't mean we're going to hand Poland back to Germany. It's not the way it works. Think of it this way. If you or your child, God forbid, needed a heart operation, and the greatest heart surgeon in the world was a Donald Trump smirking businessman who went around grabbing women, and the fifth best heart surgeon in the world was a devout Christian who was wise to, good to his family and never cheated, who would you have do the heart surgery on your kid? Me? I'd have the Trump guy. I mean, every single time. And that's basically what we're dealing with. The presidency, senators, congressmen, it's a job. It is a job. Their job is to make us free, to keep us free. We know what their job is. It's described in our founding documents. It's to ensure our rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Donald Trump is doing that. He has done a really good job of that in his first year. All of this sex stuff, it is just about politics. They do not care. And if they don't care, I don't see why we should either. All I care about is being free. All right. State of the Union is coming up this afternoon. The mailbag is coming up tomorrow, so get your questions in today at the mailbag thing at the mailbag thing, at the Klavan podcast thing, at the podcast thing, at the Daily Wire thing. I'm Andrew Klavan. This is the Andrew Klavan Show. I will see you later this afternoon. The Andrew Klavan Show is produced by Robert Sterling. Executive producer, Jeremy Boring. Senior producer, Jonathan Hay. Our supervising producer is Mathis Glover. Technical producer, Austin Stevens. Edited by Alex Zingaro. Audio is mixed by Mike Cormina. Hair and makeup is by Jesua Alvera. And our animations are by Cynthia Angulo and Jacob Jackson. The Andrew Klavan Show is a Daily Wire Forward Publishing production. Copyright Forward Publishing 2018.